Hey, Nick, take it away.
Okay, so you're all very welcome to another edition of our FOREXT Friday. I'm afraid we've been missing off the air for a little while in the last while because due to just organization, really. I suppose, first of all, I would just like to say a few words on forest extension and what forest extension is. So I suppose forest extension covers activities of state administration directed towards supporting private forestry, but it goes a little bit beyond just advising them. So our members represent about, I think it's now 26 or 27 organizations in 16 European countries. And what we're trying to do is build capacities in both training and education of private forest owners and supporting the development of their associations. And all that's associated with that. So really all I'm saying is that if anybody is online here today and would be really interested in maybe getting to know more about forest extension or FOREXT, to maybe contact Minna as first port of call. And as her email is probably there and you already have received it. And we can then discuss how you can join FOREXT if you wish to do so in the future. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to welcome Eduard Mauri from European Forest Institute, and he's going to share insights into the EU Farm Book and answer our questions about this new online platform. Just about Eduard, he's the EU Farm Book Ambassador for the forest sector in Europe. So really, this is a unique opportunity for us to listen and to talk to someone who's not only passionate about sharing knowledge, but also has an insider's view into the project. So over to you, Eduard.
Thank you very much, Nick. I hope you are hearing me well. As Nick said, I'm EU FarmBook Ambassador for the forest sector. In fact, EU FarmBook has plenty of ambassadors. Some are national based, so maybe they will contact you, and some are internationally based and divided by sectors. And for the forestry sector, I'm the one, because EU FarmBook, as you guess by its name, it concerns agriculture, although I understand that most of us, you know, that behind the word farm, usually there is also forest. So it's EU FarmBook and also the EU Forest Book. Okay, so without more delay, I've prepared a short presentation, and afterwards I will switch into a live demonstration of the platform that it's very recent, because the platform was launched on 8 February, so 2 weeks ago. And I already warned you, not all the functionalities that we promised are already working. But I'm also here maybe to collect some of the wishes that you would like to have on the platform. So feel free to ask questions and ask suggestions on how we could use, how we could improve the EU FarmBook. So, as Nick introduced me, I'm Eduard Mauri. I've been in EFI since 2016, first in the Bordeaux office in France, and now in Barcelona since 2018. And even if my just anecdotal job position is expert, I would consider myself as a generalist. So I'm very passionate on how to make projects reach their impacts and how to be able to transfer knowledge, especially practical knowledge. And you will see that your FarmBook is the tool for that. So EU FarmBook, in short, the consortium itself, it's present in 18 countries with 29 partners, of which 17 are network organizations, and the duration of the project is 7 years. We are now at the 2nd year, and happy to celebrate the launch of the platform, the minimal viable product that features the minimal functionalities that we want it to have before going public. So EU FarmBook as a project and as a platform, because both have the same name, so sometimes it may be confusing. Objectives are to ensure that European project outcomes are readily available worldwide for practitioners. And we want that this knowledge is fostered into the transposition from project outcomes to the practice. So it's very practice oriented. And the third objective is to connect the knowledge with the actors and the actors together. So just a quick quiz, and you can open your mics if you want to answer. If you want to transfer knowledge to the wall, so if you have videos, what would you use to make your videos wall available? Any cue?
YouTube channel.
Exactly, YouTube. So correct answer. If you have a scientific paper, where will you publish it to have it world accessible? Of course, you don't have to name one specific name of them, but there are plenty of scientific journals, and there your scientific knowledge will get worldwide accessible in scientific journals. But what if you have practical knowledge? Where do you publish knowledge that is not scientific? It can come from research, it can come from science, but is designed to be used and implemented by farmers, by foresters. Where do you publish it to make it worldwide accessible? Well, you could think about your project website, but we all know what happens when a project goes into an end. You have to maintain the website, you have to pay for maintenance fees, the content gets updated, the community is disengaged, or even when you create your own repository from scratch, you don't have a community around. Usually providing multilingual services is quite expensive, etc., etc. So the answer to this question is, as you were imagining, EU-FarmBook. So EU-FarmBook is expected to be the place where practical knowledge, so from nationally funded projects, but also from European funded projects, goes into to be accessible by an international community of practitioners. So what you can expect from EU-FarmBook, I talked about the cost of maintaining your own repositories. Here you have free maintenance and free hosting and open access of your practical material. It is domain specific, so the URL will never change. By now it's eu-farmbook.eu and it will stay like this. It's a platform funded and endorsed by European Commission, so this brings trust to the user. It provides project visibility and findability because all the inputs you put there, all the practical material you put there, respects, thanks to the platform, the FAIR principle. So it's findable, accessible, interoperational, and reusable. FAIR principles that are not always respected when you self-archive your material in the project website. It has a contact center for support. The upload process is very easy, as you will see. We'll go into a live demonstration on this. And it integrates the different practical materials and respects the author's right. So when you publish there, you are not losing your IPR. What we expect from the contributors, for those uploading these practical materials, we expect that they are, as I said, practical materials so that they meet the needs of the farmers and the foresters, so the practitioners. We expect that they have rich metadata. By this, we can provide the respect of the FAIR principles. It must be practice-oriented, derived from EU-funded projects, and we hope ultimately also by nationally funded projects. And all this is collected through a contributor agreement. So to make it clear which are the responsibilities of each party. However, there are also some future functionalities that will be developed. We expect to have interoperability between databases. So if you have already your own database of practical material, you can link it with the EU-FarmBook via the API. We will have a chatbot. So not only having the query search function that you usually have, but also a chatbot that you can use to find relevant information. We also will engage with the community. So people using EU-FarmBook will be able to engage each other, and will be even able to interact between peers. So imagining a forester using one of the practice presented in EU-FarmBook can interact with other foresters having implemented it and discussing the pros and cons, for example, or with the experts. The experts are considered those that created this material, so you would be able to contact the authors of this material and have first-hand information. All of these in a multilingual environment, because ultimately the platform will be completely multilingual, meaning that you would be able to interact with people from different countries with your own language, and all this will be simultaneously translated. So, and this is my last slide. If we think how the information will flow to and from the EU-FarmBook repository, first we have what we call the contributors. So people that generate this practical knowledge, as I said, mainly from EU-funded projects by now, but in the future also by nationally funded projects. They contribute with this material into EU-FarmBook, which can be used directly by the end users, so the foresters and the farmers, or can be accessed and processed by intermediaries like advisors, consultants, teachers, etc., to generate final content for the end users. And also there is another leg where we try to promote the use of EU-FarmBook within different organizations that generate practical knowledge. So they can drag information from there, but they can also contribute into the EU-FarmBook. I will go now to a live demonstration of the platform from inside. Is there any question by now? If not, I will switch to my browser. So when you first log in, when you first enter to EU-FarmBook, eufarmbook.eu, you get this page. Let's just start from the user point of view. I tell you now that by now there are very few contributions because the platform was recently launched. So don't ask me to perform very complex queries. Let's say that I'm interested in anything containing water. So there you go and you find the different results, by now 3 that concern water. But if you want to refine by topic, so let's say, tell me what is water in forestry, and we have this material. Or you can search by document type, resource type, so it can be documents, but it can be audios, datasets, images, videos, etc. You can filter by topic, like here, like forestry or crop farming, livestock, and then environment, society, or economics. You must understand that these 6 topics overlap, so you can have forestry and society in the same, like this one, for example, is forestry, is economics, and is society, so they are not exclusive. Then there are a series of subtopics, and you can search by the language, although, as I said, this will not be a problem in the future because all the material uploaded there should be automatically translated to any language, so you could upload in any language and people would be able to read you or watch you or listen to you. The location, and if it comes from a specific project. So let's say that I choose this one, and then that's very typical from other repositories where you have a title, a summary, you can view the document. So if you click it, you view it full screen, or you can directly download, browse it here directly. If it could be a video, you could watch the video directly here. And here on the right, you have the main metadata. So the date of publication, the project where it comes from, the location, etc., etc. The keywords, very important to perform the queries. However, when you will be doing a query, there is artificial intelligence behind. So the artificial intelligence will be able also to go into the text or into the audio or into the the audio of the video or an audio file and get information also from there. And then, for example, if you are interested more in the project, you click in the project where it comes from, and you have details on the project, and you have here all the material from this project Sincere. So, and then perform queries within the material of that given project. So this is very useful if you are managing a project and you want to host your material for a long term in a structured way. This is very appropriate. And you may be thinking, well, but if I put my knowledge here, I will drive my visitors not to my project website, although, as you see, there's a link here, but to the EU-FarmBook. Well, not necessarily, because EU-FarmBook has an API. An API is an application programming interface. It's a piece of software that you install in your project website, and you can consult EU-FarmBook behind the scenes. So any user could be browsing your project website and do a query, for example, for, I'm a project website of Sincere, and I am in the Sincere project website. I do the query, and I don't know, but I will be doing the query into the EU-FarmBook, and the results returned will come from the EU-FarmBook, but will be shown in your project website. So you keep your users within your project website, but the advantage is when the project is finished and you shut down the project website, all the material is still there, archived for the long term and still accessible. Okay, this is what can I show by now from the user point of view. Before going to the contributor point of view, do you have any questions? No, I don't see any hands. So from the contributor point of view, so if you are in a project that is generating practical knowledge for foresters and you want to contribute into the EU-FarmBook, what shall you do? First, you have to sign up. So here's the sign up button. I will not click it because I have already signed up. It's the typical sign up as many other web services. And when you log in, you enter your credentials and you are logged in. Then, if you are the workflow to upload, I will show you better here. If you want to contribute, you see here that first, it's the project coordinator who needs to request access to the project. And then, does it mean that only the project coordinator can contribute, can upload practical material? No. He or she can send invitations to the contributors that when they accept this invitation, it means that they authorize by the project coordinator to upload practical knowledge into EU-FarmBook. So here, for example, as I can see, under which projects I am coordinator or I am contributor, small parenthesis, I am not the project coordinator of Sincere. I don't want to steal Georg Winkel identity. It's just because Georg Winkel, the former coordinator of Sincere, is no longer working at EFI. So I requested to be assigned project coordinator just for the matter of facilitating the upload of the fact sheets from Sincere. This being said, you can see the details of your project. This one, yes, I'm the coordinators. You provide this information when you identify yourself as the coordinator of the project. However, most of this information is automatically retrieved from the Cordis database. That's a database managed by the Research Executive Agency for the projects. I can also see which contributions have I uploaded. They are all here, and I can review them. And the most important, as you see, the add contribution. So when you click on add contribution, you have to be either, as I said, the project coordinator or have been identified as contributor by your project coordinator. And then you can choose, okay, which these are the 2 projects to which I am authorized to upload content into EU-FarmBook. So you choose your project. Next step. And this ensures that all the project information has been already uploaded, meaning that then you focus on uploading your practical knowledge. So you can choose your file. I did some tests here. For example, I have a file that is in English. And imagine that many of you may work or produce your own translations. So you could add translated version of the same file. Oops, sorry, something went wrong. Going back. So let's say I upload the English version. Then I add a translation. Okay, and then you say that this is in French. So this makes sure that this is the same document, but in different languages. So they are all related and made available if someone wants to read the original version. You enter, and here then you enter the metadata. As I said, metadata is very important for you, for the users. Well, for the EU-FarmBook platform to filter and query the material, and for the users to find it. So you fill in the title, you fill in a description of your practical knowledge material up to 500 words. You select your category. It is a document, or it's a data set, or it's a video. And then as you see, the type below changes depending on what you select. For some of these categories, if you have a digital object identifier, you can enter it. And then you select which type of material you are uploading. It can be more than one. So I imagine that this is a manual, or and you consider that's also a guide. So you check it. And then the keywords, very important. Again, for the search engine, separated by comma, you can type as many keywords as you need. Can be one word or several words. And then you identify the topics that, as I said, can be more than one. So we are working on forestry, and it's related to environment. You select. If environment or economics or society doesn't fit, you just select forestry. Then the different subtopics that, as you see, change depending on the topic that you have selected. You enter the authors. We use creators as a more generic expression, so the name and email of the author. So you can upload the material without being the author, but of course you have to be authorized to do it. So usually this authorization comes within the grant agreement or within the consortium agreement in the sections of dissemination and exploitation. And then the license. By now, explicitly, we are only accepting Creative Commons licenses. If you have others, you select it here. This is very important because it's where you're saying what the users can do with your information. And they are more or less restrictive. If you want to know more, by the way, each metadata field, you have information and button here, and you get extra information and even external links to understand what you are supposed to fill in for this metadata file field. Short parenthesis, I must say that license is usually the most challenging metadata field to fill in, because when we publish great literature, usually we don't assign any license. So make sure that you have the license on hand and have the proper choice according to the usage that you want to give. And then the intended purposes. Is this for dissemination? Is for communication? It's training material, etc. And then the date of completion of the material that you are uploading, and the geographical location. So to which country does this refer? And then you click to submit, and it goes directly into the EU-FarmBook and accessible to all the users. That's all. As I said, new functionalities will come. Simultaneous translation, not only for the interface, as you are seeing, but also for the content. The possibility to interact with other users, querying or searching or using specific material there. Also interact with the experts that in fact are the authors of the material. Of course, as long as they give consent to be contacted. And as I said, also this chatbot that you will be able to interact with it in your own language to help you to retrieve the appropriate information. That's all I had prepared for today. I'm aware that you are you can be a quiet, diverse group of users, because at the same time, if you are involved in projects, you can be contributors. But as an extension service and giving support and advice to foresters, you also be a user of EU-FarmBook. So I try to cover both aspects and the possibilities of this platform. So here I am for questions, if I can answer, or wishes. If you think, oh, I would like to have the feature that you didn't mention, I will take note and I will pass it to the developers to see if this is something that could be implemented.
Very good.
We are still 7 years in front of us, 5 years in front of us to develop the platform and to improve it.
That's great. Thanks very much, Eduard. I think it was interesting, I think, for people to see what's coming down the line in terms of the farm book, because I think for FOREXT, they're putting together a proposal on forest advisory kind of network in the same kind of frame, I presume. So yeah, thank you very much for that and for giving your time. And I'm sure there'll be loads of questions. In fact, I see a hand already gone up from Tom Hoolan. Just one question before I go to Tom. You're talking about any language, which is I mean, anytime we even go to translate into one language or two languages, the cost is prohibitive. How do you intend to do that? Is that through AI or?
Yes, a translation will be through artificial intelligence. And for this, we have one partner within the consortium that it's a private company specialized in developing text tools and text processing tools using artificial intelligence, and they are in charge of this. Of course, not all languages will be available since the beginning. So first, we'll be focusing on the interface of the EU-FarmBook platform itself, that by now it's only in English. At the first stage, coming, I hope, quite soon, will be in the 6 major languages of the European Union, that it's English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Polish. And then we will extend to the other European languages, and the other will be those that are recognized as official languages in the European Commission. And then at the second stage, we will apply these translation tools also into the material uploaded, meaning that if you are uploading a PDF in French and you are Polish and you don't read French, you will be able to read the PDF that is written in French. You will be able to read it in Polish, because the translation will happen within the document itself. The same if it's a video, maybe not the audio, but for sure the subtitles would be captured and translated into your own language.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, Tom, you're up.
Hello, Eduardo. Hi, Nicholas, and participants. Thank you for the presentation, Eduardo. It looks like it's going to be a hugely powerful tool, and I'm just thinking of the whole range of projects that have been ongoing across Europe from through different funding sources. Like it looks like it's going to be really powerful. I'm just wondering, have you thought about how to engage and animate people who have been involved in these projects to ensure that there's very good uptake and very good participation in uploading data into the farm book? And is there a kind of a strategy there to get that animation and engagement?
Yeah, sure. Very nice question, because we are precisely now developing this strategy. As of resources, we have an army of ambassadors. As I said, some of them are national based. Some others, like me, are internationally based. And let's say that we have like three contacts, ones or three levels of engagement. This is one is when you already know the coordinator of another project in person, so then it's very easy to hang around and say, look, there is your farm book, blah blah blah, why don't you contribute? Then a second level could be those projects where you have a link, maybe you don't know the person face to face, but there could be some connection topic wise or institutional wise, and at the end there are the projects where the ambassadors, even if we are a small army of there are 21 organizations having ambassadors, and maybe some of the organizations have more than one ambassador to scout. We have the list of EU funded projects. By now, Horizon, we are focusing on Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020. We have the list of those that are on agriculture and forestry, and we're progressively contacted. But the whole strategy still needs to be developed. It will be very soon, because I feel myself, and as this is an informal chat, I feel myself as an ambassador, but also as a salesperson, because I have to convince you to use the platform. So for this, yes, we need a strategy that it's undergoing.
Yeah, and thank you, and hopefully our members across FOREXT will help. I think we see the value in the platform, and we'll hopefully help in spreading the good news of EU-FarmBook as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
So I'll keep in contact with Ignacio and Nick.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Tom. Ansi, you have your. Excuse me if I've pronounced your name wrong.
No, that's fine.
You're up.
Thank you, Eduard, for the good presentation. During it, I was wondering, have the farmers and forest owners, especially farmers, and have they found the service, the platform yet? And or is it more still like the users are like more professionals? I'm the Finnish Forest Center.
Okay. Yeah, there is a point that I missed in my presentation, is that this year, 2024, with the launch, in fact, pre-launch on 8 February, this year we are focusing on contributors. So we are chasing after contributors to upload material. And then in 2025, we will do another launch for the users and the end users. And then there is a full team of experts on how to engage with them and how to present them their material correctly to be appealing for them. I didn't also present it because I didn't want to go into details, but EU-FarmBook didn't start from scratch. It comes from two previous projects that were called Euragnos and Eureka, that were smaller, 2 years, I think each one, or 3. The first one, Euragnos, was focusing on what do the contributors need? What do the projects that generate practical knowledge need to disseminate this knowledge internationally? And then Eureka focused on the user side. How do farmers and foresters access this information? Which are their preferred formats, etc. So they will use this knowledge to make it sure that this material is properly presented to the end users. But also, what we can do is getting the intelligence from the platform, so checking which content receives better feedback or is more appreciated by end users. EU-FarmBook could also advise the producers of material on how to produce their material appropriately to be, let's say, user-friendly for farmers and foresters. And we also have thought, finally, these two legs, as if I go back to my presentation shortly, that there is, as you see, there are two arrows here pointing out. One is for final end users, so directly the farmers and foresters, if they have the digital skills and on how to access this content. Also, although it will be easily accessible, but if they are used to access the knowledge digitally, but also we expected this content to be used by people that will process this content and deliver it appropriately to the end users. So if you as advisors or consultants think, oh, this content is appropriate for the foresters I'm advising, but the way it is presented in EU-FarmBook or the way EU-FarmBook you need to access for them is not appropriate, well, you can use this material, of course, always respecting the intellectual property rights, and that's why the license of intellectual property rights is important here, and use this material to create your own material that could be suitable for the end users that you are advising or training, etc.
Thank you. It might be easier to have those professionals to get interested on the platform, but challenge might be there to attract.
Yeah, we are also mobilizing them, and I think that you are a perfect platform to do so. So we take them, or I would say we take you into consideration within this knowledge flow.
Thanks very much, Ansi, and thanks, Edward, for that answer. And I suppose if I come back in here, and it's my first impression of it, and I'm going to be a little bit critical, and I'm coming back, I think, to something that Ansi was, is that I'm not critical as such, but it's just from a point of view of a forest owner or a farmer, I would see this as a daunting prospect to approach. To me, it's brilliant. I think it's a great idea to have a repository of all things farm, all things project, etc., etc. However, as a farm owner or a forest owner, am I really going to engage with this? Because there's so much information in there. A lot of it is, looking at the moment, is academic. And to me, coming from academia, this is a very academic exercise. And I know you gave some really good answers there about how you're going to try and engage people down the line. But I just think that from the start off, when I'm looking at it, and if I said to a forest owner or a farm owner, I said, listen, go online there, you'll see some great articles. They will get bogged down at the first level and they'll just go, oh, I don't have time for this. So I suppose, but while I'm being critical at the moment, I know it's early days. I think it's very important that you go to what we would call the lowest common denominator. I think it was Dean Swift wrote an essay on it. You go to the lowest common denominator of who your audience is, and that's who you work with, rather than us up here in academia. It's brilliant for me, for lectures, for preparing lectures and all that. And as an advisor, I'm sure absolutely brilliant. But I do think that really our audience in this instance is the forest owner and the farm owner and the farmer. And I think maybe that's, I presume that's what you're going to do down the line, Edward. I know it's early days, but I just would like to say it and maybe open the floor to other people who kind of maybe feel the same way, just to see will they get others. So,
thank you, Nick.
Yeah, sorry, Lara, you want to come in?
Yeah, sorry. For some reason, I have problems with the camera with Teams. I don't know. I always have it, so I can't put my image. So, well, you don't lose much, so that's good. No, I was going to talk about just what Nick said. As a representative of forest owners of Southern Europe, I think the information is brilliant. It's good to have it there and all that. But as Nick said, it's like for a forest owner, it's too complicated. Like nobody, and it's really difficult to understand what is going, in that databases and find the information you need and how you apply it to the ground. I think, as always, as we say always, the information is there, but we need to put it on the ground. And for that, I think it's more a practical issue, or, it's not as much as that we have somewhere to go to read it, because forest owners don't have time for that. And they don't even understand many times all the information, So we need someone intermediary there that helps us to put that on the ground or to apply it to the ground. I just wanted to say that because, okay, we think it's really valuable information, but it's difficult to put it on the ground at the end, to in the practical sense of the, that's all.
Thank you very much, Lady.
I would presume, Eduard, that down the line you're looking to solve this. Like that's kind of one of your I suppose, objectives is to try and solve this?
Yes, well, I'm a humble ambassador. There are many other brains thinking about this, but what I would say, I think that the answer to these questions, where we are now focusing our, at least for the short term, the solution one is the chatbot. So to have a way to interact with your own language in a plain language. I have a problem on that. Do you have any solution on this? Of course, the chatbot needs training and needs time and so on. So that's the reason why it's not yet running. And the second also is getting feedback on which is the most appreciated material, and use it as a reference on how future materials produced by projects should be to reach the farmers, to reach the foresters. But of course, any other strategy or any other advice we will welcome. And this is the reason we have within the partner of EU-FarmBook, we have advisory services, not FOREXT, but we have advisory services in agriculture. So they can also provide feedback on, okay, now that the platform is running, how do we make it that sure that the end users, as you said, Nick, the minimum common denominator, are able to use it and have advantage of it.
Very good, thank you. Is there anybody else? They're all very shy. They're all drinking too much coffee and eating too many biscuits to ask Eduard a question. No, are you all gone to lunch? Any other questions there? I mean, here's your opportunity to ask.
There are some questions in the chat, actually. Can you?
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah.
All right, I haven't seen the chat. Good. Sorry, Bjorn, you want to ask a question? No.
Yeah, just a small question on behalf of non-EU members, or EU but non-EU members. What to say about Norway? Same like UK. Where do we land in the new situation regarding this? Do you have some opinion about that? Yep.
And I see that someone else also asked a very similar question, James, in the chat. I must be sincere, is that this is a EU-funded project. So our donor is the European Commission, and they expect that we fulfill the objective of the European Commission, meaning that we give priority to Horizon Europe and H2020 projects and operational groups. These are by now our three main sources. So you can be in Norway, or you can be even in Tunisia or in Lebanon. I say these two countries because I'm in a project with Lebanese and Tunisian partners, but we are in a Horizon Europe. So if they produce a practical knowledge material, it could be uploaded because it comes from EU-funded project. For national projects, by now it's not a priority, but it should be maybe more in the second half of the project, that and this is the intention, in fact, that they also will be able to upload knowledge objects. So I ended up using the technical term. We call them knowledge objects. Each piece of information, we call them knowledge objects. This will happen that in countries that are not in the EU, like Norway, nationally funded projects may not be accepted. But well, we can try. We can, if there is this request, there is something that could be managed. The main difficulty is that if you say, look, I'm the coordinator of that project or the coordinator of that operational group, if it's at European level, it's very easy to have a centralized database that is in Cordis and certify that the person that is saying that is the coordination of that project, he or she is really the coordinator. For nationally funded projects, each country or even each donor has their own database of who is the coordinator or who is engaged in that project to certify that that person who is saying, oh, I'm coordinating that Norwegian project to certify that this person is the person who is intended to be. So then it's simply because it's longer to implement these measures. What I didn't say is that we are also working with the AKIs. The AKIs in each country, they, according to the Common Agricultural Policy, they should have a database or a knowledge repository of the practical knowledge in their countries. So we are working with the AKIs for their knowledge repositories to be connected to EU-FarmBook, meaning that EU-FarmBook could present in the platform the information also stored in the AKIs databases.
I would presume, Eduard, just before we get to, I think, Teresa, if I can try and understand what Teresa is trying to ask, but I would presume that down the line, once this is implemented, that it will be open to outside, like Norwegian, UK, research and findings. Because, and even, I mean, at the moment, I know you're talking about EU projects, which is EU-funded projects Horizon, and then you're talking about maybe nationally funded projects. But a lot of projects are bottom up, and they maybe, for example, in here in Ireland, we would even have some funded by our own university, PhD studies, or even local industry. And to me, some of that information, because it's ground up, it's actually derived from people on the ground wanting that information, and a study is implemented in it. That is nearly more important than some of these big, what the farmer on the ground would look on as these big pie in the sky EU projects that really, to them, ploughing their field isn't going to make much difference. So, and I'm not sure if that's what Teresa is getting at as well, is that she's talking about documents from some EU-funded projects, English not required, and then she's also asking about the peer-to-peer collaboration, which in a way is farmer to farmer or forest advisor to forest advisor. How will you get around that? It might be too difficult a question for this, but we'll throw it at you.
I have some cues. I completely understand that some nationally funded projects maybe provide more practical results than the big EU-funded projects, and personally, I'm pushing a lot for this to be available, because now I'm only working on EU-funded projects at the EFI. But in my previous career, I had been involved in some Spanish funded projects, and there are very nice outputs for practitioners that by now I cannot upload it because there's limitation. But I will push this for to be overcome and to be available. About language, no. The question about this, should all the material uploaded in the EU-FarmBook should be at least in English? The answer is no. You can upload in any language recognized by the European Commission. However, by now, as the automatic translation of the content is not yet available, it means that if your material is in Spanish, it will remain in Spanish. The advantage of English is that it's more internationally known, but of course, if you are talking to farmers and forestry, it may not be the case. However, at the end, this should be not a problem, as artificial intelligence will allow us to translate the material uploaded. So the short answer is no. You can upload in any language. If you have a multiple language, that's great. About the peer-to-peer collaboration, this is also something that we are still discussing. One of the possibilities could be, but we have to check how do we manage this. We are considering that each piece of material in the EU-FarmBook, each object, would have its own associated chat or a forum. And there you could, when you're accessing a fact sheet or accessing a video, you could see the related forum and engage a discussion with other people, again, also with simultaneous translation. So this would be the peer-to-peer collaboration. So imagine a farmer trying to implement a practice, and there is something that doesn't work for him, so he could interact in this chat or forum. Oh, I've been trying to do this, but I didn't figure out how to do that. So this is one possibility, and the other possibility is to be also to be able, again, if consent is given, to interact with the author of the material there. So if you are a user and say, look, I've read your best practices, or I watched your video and I don't know how exactly to do that, please can you help me to understand? And then the author itself, so the person who better knows the material there, could interact with this person, with the user.
Very good. Yeah, I presume the onus is going to be hugely on yourselves running the project, and then the advisors to roll this out, so and show that it is this interactive type of platform. I suppose it's going to be the selling of it is going to be the big thing, you know. I'm just going to John Casey. John, do you want to come in on that, or you just put a comment there of the AF4 EU agroforestry project is carrying out analysis on user preference for knowledge transfer, engaging with farmers, advisors, and academics. User needs can be addressed by the Alive handbook, Knowledge Cloud, and MOOC. Do you want to come in on that, John, or is that you feel that's enough?
No, I was just going to mention that the agroforestry project, the AF4 EU, they have that multilingual massive open course they're developing. But as part of this engagement, we have regional agroforestry innovation networks, and we have had farmers, advisors, policymakers, and academics. And part of the work is been asking them what's the information that they want and how they want it delivered. And there is some variation amongst it, you know. And Eduard is quite right in terms of farmers have a preference for peer-to-peer learning and probably video format or infographics, something that's more instant, while the academics want something perhaps maybe a little bit more involved, or we'll call it rigorous for want of a different word. But you know, this information can be tiered and it can be put into these systems. So you know, there should be some good outputs from that, and you know, I presume they will be involved in this network as well, this project. Yeah, your own network as well.
Yeah, sure. I will liaise with AF4U. I'm in contact with the coordinator, in fact. So now that you are pointing this knowledge transfer engaging, I think it could be very useful. Also, as I said, EU-FarmBook, before the project itself, in the Eureka project, they did this job, but new insights are always welcome.
Yeah, like I said, there's 11 networks, so they got quite a bit of feedback in the several workshops. It might be worth chasing up some of that.
Very good. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
And Laura has a question. I suppose that this is a question that has been thrown at the ACUS, I think, as well. Is that why is if farm and forest are both included? Why is only why isn't forest included somewhere in the name? Well, I think there is a kind of a platform being developed for forestry anyway, but I could be wrong. I mean, I think that's the next EU call. So, but I'll leave that to you. If you want to try and answer that one.
Well, at the beginning of the project, I pushed the project coordinator to, well, why don't we get two URLs, EU-FarmBook and EU-ForestBook, but all go to the same place?
Yes.
Or if you log in as a farmer, you see EU-FarmBook, but if you log in as a forester, you see EU-ForestBook. Well, but I didn't succeed, sadly. So I will be pushing, but as I said, we are 20-something partners, and the only one exclusively working on the forest is EFI. So I don't have as many power as I wanted.
And I would presume that we wouldn't like it as a farm book anyway. We would probably like it as a forest log.
That could be even better. Yeah.
Very good. Is there anybody else with questions, or?
Just one second. Sorry, because another thing that and here maybe I'm generalizing too much, but also my role within the consortium is making them aware that what we usually call foresters is not the same as we call farmers, right? Because as I understand, I am not in agricultural sector, but when you say farmer, you understand someone that works the land. It's maybe not his land, it's maybe rented for someone else, but it's someone who, who produces food at the end. Well, when you call forester, I think that we are all aware that there are many forest owners that know nothing about forestry, and because it's not their main activity, they have a forest, and they rely on forest advisors, on forest consultants to decide or to advise them on the management that they could do in their land. So this I'm pushing a lot into the consortium. That, well, you say farmers and foresters as a generic word to say, let's say, practitioners, but I'm pretty sure that compared to the agricultural sector, I don't think so that there will be so many end users in the sense of forest owners accessing EU-FarmBook, but I trust that most from the forest side will be people as you, advisors, consultant, extension services, that then can use this material to provide with knowledge to the forest owners, who, of course, they are the private forest owners are the last to. The person having the power to make the decision of, yes, I do this in my land or not, but to receive a good advice, advisors and trainers need to have access to this information, and this is the intention of the EU-FarmBook.
Yeah, I think you're right there, that there is a kind of a differentiation between a forest owner and a forester as such. Not all forest owners are foresters. So yeah, I think that's probably true to make that differentiation. And a lot of foresters are practitioners. So I think, yeah, from that point of view, I think the forest practitioner would be really interested in this. I think they would probably use it a lot more than the actual forest owner. But I do think, looking at it down through the years and my 35 years involved in forestry and tech transfer, I do think that it's the forest owner, it's the lowest common denominator we really should be hitting with these things. We've tried everything else. And I think maybe John Casey's point in that they've already done a lot of work, and this could be interesting to piggyback on some of that and get some of the findings that they have maybe to integrate into your project. But yeah, thanks very much for all those answers. I don't think there's anybody else has, I don't think anybody else has a hand up. So I think we can just thank Edward for, I think, a very interesting presentation. I think it's given us food for thought. And I think we've kept it to the hour, which everybody's now finished their coffee or they're running for their dinner or whatever it is, depending on what country you're in. But just a little aside after that, before I fully thank Edward and we sign off, it's just to say that on the 26th of April, we will be running another FOREXT Friday. And this will be the Lithuanian Agriculture Advisory Service. We'll give a talk about non-wood forest products, mainly birch sap. So they will kind of go through harvesting technologies, business possibilities, and why it's important. And I think it could be a very interesting talk for us to hear about how they carry that out. So anybody who wants to be present at that, I suppose let Minna know if you're not already on the mailing list. And other than that, Minna hopefully will send out the link. And just to say thank you all for coming, and thank you all for attending, and thank you for your questions, and most especially to Minna for all the organisation, and then you, Edward, for giving your time. And I think it was really helpful for us all. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and I hope that we can meet here maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, so I can present you all the new features in EU-FarmBook and how the platform has evolved from its current state. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice
Gracias.
weekend.